Hello, friends.
Hello.
This is Can They Say That?
Yes, and I'm Gina Berkmeyer.
And I am Polly Hamp.
And today we're going to talk about being healthfully selfish.
Yes.
I know those two words do not sound like they go together, but we promise they do.
They do.
We're going to talk about the importance of self-care, what it is and what it isn't, and how it can be a bigger challenge than we think it is.
Yes. And guys, don't hit stop.
Guys, she means like men.
Men.
Yes.
Men. Boys. Men. All you... everything. Don't hit stop right now. Listen, because this is for you too. Okay. Here we go.
Can they say that?
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 Can they say that? They can, and they will.
Greetings, everyone out there in podcast land.
Hello. Hello.
This is Can They Say That? And I am Gina Berkmeyer.
And I am Polly Hamp.
And today we are going to talk about being healthfully selfish.
Yes.
Two words that really don't sound like they go together, but I promise by the time we're finished, you're going to see how important it is to put those two words together.
Yes. Today we will be addressing self-care. And men, if you just heard that word and you're like, that's such a girl thing, do not hit stop right now because we are also talking to you.
That's right.
And we promise that this will be really great for you guys to listen to.
Yeah, what'd you say earlier? This isn't just about
bubble baths and painting your nails.
Right.
This
Yes.
is about you.
Right.
Being healthfully selfish.
That's right. And really, we want to make the case for being healthfully selfish as being the best gift that you can give your loved ones. I know this can be something that we really struggle with if we have a lot of people in our lives who need things from us, especially if you're a mom of littles or a grandmom or a grandpa of littles, or you have a very high stress and demanding job, people who depend on you. All of that can make it seem like it's selfish to care well for yourself. And yet we promise you that all the research actually even shows that it's the opposite.
I would agree. Yes. So we're going to take a little bit of time and unpack why it's important for you to be healthfully selfish with your time and the benefits of it, and if you don't do it, what can happen. And then if you have no idea how to care for yourself, we're also going to talk a little bit about that.
Yeah. So there was an article that I read as we were researching for this, and I thought it was so interesting. One of the statements in the article from Mental Health America said that ancient Greeks believed in self-care because they felt that it was a way to make people more honest and to make them better at caring for others. They felt that their citizens who practiced self-care, when they had an emphasis in the culture on that self-care, that they actually became better at caring for other people. And I found that fascinating. And I kind of I connected that a little bit to scarcity, because I think if there's a scarcity around us caring for ourselves, if we're not caring for ourselves well, I think what happens is scarcity drives selfishness. Like, okay, well, I need to hoard this a little because I don't know if I have enough for me, so I might not have enough for you.
Yeah.
I think sometimes it can be a driver for that. Not all the time, but I think sometimes.
It makes sense because then you kind of have an all or nothing mentality. You push yourself to the edge of where it's like, I just can't take care of anybody anymore.
That's right.
You know, and like,
Leave me alone.
I'm so freaking done. I can't breathe.
Yeah, and
so
before you know it, you're in the pantry drinking out of the coffee pot and eating a bag of Munchos and praying that the kids don't hear you, right?
Oh, wow. Is that personal?
Oh, wait. Sorry. Too much TMI?
Yeah. Mine was more of going to sitting on the front porch and crying. Like, oh my gosh, so, yeah, that only happened a lot.
Okay. Only a lot. That's, understandable.
Baby, twins.
Yes.
So,
I do know twins, actually. I do. So one of the things that I want to talk about when we're addressing self-care, I wish there was another word because I think it's been overused. I think people go meh and kind of tune out when they hear it. If y'all have a different word, comment and let us know, and we promise to use it.
Well, and it's also been a very abused word.
Oh, yes.
You know, one of the things that people just use, it's like, well, I have to have self-care. And it's like, I'm sorry, honey, but you can't do that 24/7. You have responsibilities.
That's right.
So, you know, using self-care as a word to abuse what people are like, oh yeah, they need to care for themselves. But it's like, okay, but you need to get out. And so,
Well, that's true. I think sometimes there's a pendulum. So you know how like if you hold a pendulum way far to the left for long enough, when you let it go, the very first thing it does is it swings way far to the right. I think a lot of times there's so many areas of our lives we could apply that sort of metaphor of the swinging pendulum, because
politics.
did she just say
I might
that?
have.
Because what happens is we don't care, and then we learn what self-care is, and finally someone somewhere convinces us to try it, and it feels so good, but we've been depleted for so long that we're like, no, we just want to go do this thing because it feels like we have to find that middle ground.
Yes.
So also another case for not waiting until you're totally on E to care for yourself.
Correct.
This should not be like a once a month thing or a once a quarter thing. This
Right.
really, even 5 to 10 minutes in a day, if you can
Yes.
find it for yourself, is important.
One of the things I said that I do, and we'll talk a little bit, maybe we can talk about it now,
Sure.
but sometimes if I'm just I need a fresh breath of air, and I'll go out and blow bubbles. And it's calming, and I get to be outside, and bubbles are beautiful. And then Gina proceeded to tell me that there's like this brain thing I
Yeah.
had no idea about.
Nerd alert. So what happens is when we're stressed and full of tension and anxiety, even depression, we have our sympathetic nervous system that gets kind of it's online, right? It's all of those things that we're struggling with. The parasympathetic nervous system is what sort of helps to down-regulate that. And one of the quickest ways to engage the parasympathetic nervous system is through breathing, particularly when it's a full inhale of a breath and an exhale that is longer than the inhale. And it takes a few rounds of that, 8 to 12 typically, before we have a full engagement. But sitting on a porch for 15 minutes, 20 minutes, whatever, blowing bubbles, that's ample time to engage that parasympathetic nervous system. So,
And it's fun.
yeah.
Who knew?
Bonus, and aesthetically pleasing if you like to look at bubbles.
It's so true.
Yeah, I think also we want to categorize this as, well, this is my one area where I think I do pretty well. Like I'm working out, so I'm good on the self-care. Well, self-care is a little more holistic than that, because we are more holistic than merely physical beings. And I do believe that exercise has far-reaching implications in terms of benefits. In terms of benefits. So not just physical benefits, but we do want to look at spiritual, mental, physical, emotional. We want to look at all of that when we're thinking about self-care.
Yeah. So let's talk a little bit about the things that you can do for self-care. So some of you guys might be listening to us going, I have no idea. You know, we're going to, in our actions and our questions, we're going to have you write a list of what you love to do that brings you peace, that brings you rest, that feels like fills your soul, that feels like you're caring for yourself. And be it a 10-minute activity or be it an all-day thing where you kind of escape, or an hour, but definitely something where you're really caring for yourself. And so some of the things that you can do is just ask yourself, what do you love? What do you love? And this, for some of you guys, it might be hard to know what you love. You may have given yourself to everybody else. You're like, I don't have time to find out what I love. So what did you used to love when you were a little boy or girl?
And you can fill in the word love with fun. What was fun?
Yes.
What just made you, like, you could just do it for hours. You just lost yourself in the activity. It was so engaging and so fun and so fulfilling. What was that thing?
And when you start doing it, all the other things will start just going, brrrr.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, I
Can you do
love
that again?
Yeah. Brrrr.
Thanks. That was
You're
cool.
welcome. Yeah. I like that. I'm going to self-care now with my brrrr. So, okay. You should have never encouraged that.
See
Okay.
what I did there?
And so one of the things that is helpful for self-care is meditation. And
Yes.
just really, so you've got two thought forms. One, the Eastern meditation is emptying your mind.
Correct.
When God talks about meditation, what he teaches is that you fill your mind with his presence. And so it's not just an emptying your mind of
Right.
like no thoughts whatsoever, but it's filling yourself with his presence. And so in meditation, it's deep breaths, deep slow breaths. And you can do this at your desk. You can do this. I wouldn't do it in your car. I was about to say car, but that's
Don't do it in your car.
But
That's
if you're
not
in an
good.
Uber ride and your guy or your
Don't
guy
do
or
it.
girl's driving you somewhere, then you can do it there. You can do it pretty much anywhere, just like Dr. Seuss would say. And it is just meditating on the presence of who lives in you. And if this is something where you're not comfortable with, you're like, just the whole God thing and stuff like that, just find peace. Find
Right, that's right.
balance in your mind. Find a
Practice
place.
your breathing.
Yeah, practice-
Relaxation.
and just listen to your breathing because it's beautiful.
There is actually there's a lot of really good brief meditations that you can get online through Google, just free, and just type in meditations. There's something called progressive relaxation, which is really a wonderful form of self-care, which takes you through the muscle groups of the body and tensing and relaxing to give you a full sense of relaxation. If you would like a faith-based version of that, you can go to thefaithfulbraininstitute.com or faithfulbrain.com. Either one of those will work. And click on resources, and you'll see personal prayer relaxation. There's also a personal mantra relaxation for those of you who aren't really into assigning a deity to your faith. You can use either one of those. But they're super beneficial, and they have far-reaching benefits beyond just the breathing. It's a physical, mental, emotional, and spiritual experience. So we do recommend that. Before we go further in your list, I want to go back to something you said.
Okay.
You said something about what are the things that you love? What are the things that feed your soul? Like those kinds of things. I want to put a little bit of a cautionary label on that.
Okay.
For those of us who might lean super mercy, for those of us who might lean codependent, if your first response was taking care of my family, volunteering at church, going to the pet shelter, and that one could be on the fence because you do get to hold puppies and kittens. But anyway, so that is still a depletion. And by all means, we are not advocating that you shouldn't do those things. Do those things. The world needs you and your beautiful heart, but it needs you to pour out of a filled vessel. So fill your vessel and then pour out. Just like in scripture where it says, love your neighbor as yourself. If we can't figure out how we're supposed to be caring well for ourselves, we're probably going to suck at caring for other people. At the very least, we're going to be caring for others, even if it looks well on the surface, there's typically an agenda, right? Like, I'm going to be okay if I do this thing for other people. And so we want to be really careful about that. So, okay.
That's
That
so
was
good.
just my little plug.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, so we're going to keep going through the list. The other one is physical, because we're talking about the holistic. We're talking about the whole self. And so mind, body, and spirit. And so with body, you have the physical self-care part. So exercise, walking, swimming, dancing. We just danced before
We did.
this.
True statement.
Yes. And so fun.
Fitness Marshall. Go check him out.
Oh my gosh, he's so fun. Yeah. And reminding me how much I need to move again because I love to dance.
Yes.
But just taking care of your physical and whatever that looks like. Is that working out? Is that dancing? Is that just walking? Is that, gosh, what else? So many things.
Well, one of my personal favorites is kickboxing.
There you go.
And I love to lift heavy things.
Yeah.
I love to lift weights, just because it's so fun to challenge myself. And I know, somebody out there is going, she's weird. That's okay. It's my jam. It doesn't have to be your jam, but it's what I like to do.
Okay, I'm about to push on some Christian buttons. Yoga. If you are a Christian, you can do yoga.
You really can.
Yeah.
And if it really freaks you out, there is actually something called holy yoga.
Yeah.
You can go check that out. It's people who do yoga from a perspective of a relationship with Christ. But you can also just let yoga be yoga.
Yeah.
I mean, really.
God created all movements in our bodies.
Right. Just because they want to assign people want to assign it a certain thing doesn't mean you have to do that. Let it be your own.
Exactly. Okay, so let's move to your health and taking care of your health as a self-care aspect.
Physical.
Eating well, and eating greens and eating healthful foods and not just starving yourself or overeating. Really looking at what food, you were talking about assigning labels. What do you assign, what labels do you assign to food? But really being mindful of what you take in to take care of yourself, because in eating well, that is a self-care component, because whatever goes in comes out.
So water-rich foods.
Yes.
High fiber foods. Good quality proteins. Polly and I both tend to lean more towards vegetarian, vegan, but you don't have to do that. Just if you're going to eat meat, eat really good quality meat, grass-fed to finish, free range, all of those things. But the more plant-based you can go, the research is out there, the better off that you will be. And if you're a comfort food person, that's totally fine. Just maybe think about, is there a way to maybe kind of alter the comfort foods so that they're a little bit healthier, so that you don't feel worse after you eat them than before you ate them?
Well, and also it might be a time for you to discover why you find comfort in food.
That's true.
And so is there something more that's pressing on you that you don't want to look at, that you're finding comfort in?
Well, and also maybe more self-care might actually stop that need to go to the comfort food and things like that. So,
good.
And just a quick tip on that: shop the perimeter of the grocery store.
Yes.
Because that's where you find the least processed foods. The more internal in the store you get, the more processed the foods become.
Okay, and I'm going to challenge you, if you guys are a fast food person and you eat fast food and you're like, well, the kids won't eat anything else. They will, because they'll eat what you give them. And if you're like, it's so much easier. So just this week, if you are a fast food person and you find yourself just driving through because it's so much quicker, try for 7 days to not go through a fast food place and really think about what you can do to plan to get the foods that are good for you that you can take on the go. And you can YouTube everything, you can Google everything.
Sure.
There's so much stuff out there. I mean, we're such an information society now that you can find anything. And so just try it for 7 days and then kind of journal what you felt like. So if you go back to the fast food thing, really see what it looked like.
Yes.
And you might actually feel worse before you feel better. Because
Sometimes it's a detoxification.
Yeah, you
kind
might
of
be
thing.
irritable. You might be kind of like, rah, you know.
Yeah.
And so just pay attention to that.
That's good. So what else? So we've got relationships.
Relationships.
Time with loved ones, time with friends, time with pets.
Yes.
All of those things. That feeds our soul in a very special way. Time with God, if that is something that brings you peace, brings you joy, that you recognize the benefits of having that heart connection with God, by all means, please do that. But those who we love and those who love us, and the kind of people that you can just belly laugh with over absolutely nothing.
Yes.
That's one of the reasons why I'm so grateful we get to do this together.
Yes.
Because it is work, but it's also, there's a feeding of the soul in the midst of it, because we really do laugh a lot, y'all. You might not hear all of it, but there's a lot going on over here.
And guys, this is important for you too, because I know females can seem to have and this is just my perspective, females can seem to have a lot more friends. Actually, I only have a couple of really good friends that I can belly.
You can really be you.
Yeah. And so, and it's something that I have found that is comforting for me, to not have a whole lot of friends. But guys, you know, what does your friendships look like? What do your friendships look like? Are you allowed to be goofy, or do you have to put up a wall? Just find that relationship place that you can be yourself and have a good time.
Yeah, and one of the other things I want to read from a study is that loneliness is actually associated with a higher risk of high blood pressure in actually multiple recent studies.
Wow.
Yeah.
Fascinating.
Yes. So one of the things that happens when we're close with someone, especially if it's a loved one where, especially if it's our spouse or one of our kiddos or even a really close friend where, we can hug one another and there's that sense of touch, there's something called oxytocin that's released. And that is actually, I believe it is actually the number one mitigator of cortisol. Cortisol is our stress hormone. Oxytocin actually comes and calms that. That's why if you've ever just felt like total crap, like you've had just a total, like a shit show of a day, and someone who loves you comes and puts their arms around you and you just sort of have this,
Let down.
that's oxytocin. That is actually, that cortisol in your body is being depleted because oxytocin is salving over that, which is beautiful because I just think about how scripture talks about love and how, love is like the thing and love conquers all. And I think it's true.
I would
I think
agree.
it's true. I think we're wired for it.
Yes, I would agree. And so one of the things that you will find is as you do self-care, things around you will start looking different and connections might change and people that you relate to will respond to you maybe differently where you're going, oh my gosh, I had no idea. And you'll be able to connect it back to going, I'm actually caring for myself so the people around me are feeling loved and cared for. And you have a pretty cool story about that.
Yeah, this was so fun. So I worked with a client some time back who was really struggling with self-care. Like if 0 is bad, she was at like a -10 on the self-care meter. And to the point where I didn't even know what self-care could look like other than obligation. Even exercise had become obligation for her. So we kind of played around with what it was, and she decided that she wanted to try, she loved nature. I suggested maybe journaling about nature. She didn't, she's not a journaler. I asked about drawing. She said, well, I've never tried it. So she's a very left brain person. And so she took the left brain approach, which was fine, but buying the books, doing the research, how does one draw? And watching the videos and all that, which was great and fine. And she began to do it. She started drawing and going out in nature and experiencing nature. And then she shared with her husband what she's doing, who's also extremely left-brained. But he enjoyed taking pictures. So they decided they were going to make this a relational thing. And he starts going with her, and she's pointing out the things that she loves, that she sees, and he's taking photographs and developing them and giving her the photographs, and then she's drawing what's in the photographs. So it becomes this incredible physical and mental and spiritual and emotional thing for the two of them, because that was also one of her spiritual pathways. She connected with God and nature, and he discovered that so did he. So it became just this most amazing connection that filled their soul like nothing else had. It was really, really beautiful.
I love that. So
She stopped seeing me pretty quick after that because she was like, I think I'm good.
I'm fine.
And I'm like, yes, awesome. So
yeah, so I love that, doing this, you have no idea the ripple effect.
The ripple effect,
of what
for
will
sure.
happen.
Yeah.
And so I'm pretty excited for you guys.
So in the last couple of minutes, I'm going to quickly go back over some of the things that we talked about. So meditation, athletics, time with friends and loved ones, physical well-being, health, eating well, exercise, journaling, sleep. Go Google the amount of disease that is related to lack of rest. You will be floored. Diabetes, certain types of cancer, high blood pressure, migraine disorders. There's so many things that you can go find a connection between lack of sleep and disease. So can't emphasize that one enough.
Take a nap.
Take a nap.
Yeah. 20-minute power
Give me
nap.
permission. Take a nap. Take a nap. Take a nap.
Okay, so we're going to move into our actions and our questions.
Yes.
And so we will list these in the comments of both the podcasts, on our YouTube videos, and also on Facebook. So you can go back and look through them so you can have your actions for the week.
Yes.
Okay, and so the first one is try some things out that feed your soul.
If you don't know what feeds your soul, then try some things. Think about is there something out in nature that I might want to try? Do I want to try hiking? Do I want to try journaling? Do I want to try painting a picture? Just try a couple things and see. You don't expect to be great at it. This isn't a contest.
Right.
This isn't a pass fail. It just needs to feel really good. So
Yeah. And then make a list of the things that bring you peace. Things that have this settling in you. And you still might find a wrestle of going, oh, I should be doing this thing over here. But then you will learn how to find the balance of time to be able to go, okay, I've got 15 minutes, I can doodle. I've got 10 minutes, I can go blow bubbles on the front porch or back porch. You know, I have the time. And then so just start making a list and make an exhaustive list. Go, you know, I used to love to play with my Mack truck in the backyard when I was a little boy. You know, just, and who knows, playing with your kids or playing with your nephews or nieces, things like that. It's okay to get dirty, you guys.
well, and let me just say something really quick about that. It actually increases our ability to think creatively with regard to problem solving within the scope of business. So we're more strategic, we're better problem solvers, we have better creative solutions to things, and we come up with new ideas more when we are engaging play. So
I thought of the movie Big with Tom Hanks.
yes, oh,
Everybody go watch that.
If you haven't
We're gonna
seen
add
it,
that
it's so fun.
yeah, it's been years.
Yeah.
So
Still worth a watch.
now, last one, go buy bubbles.
Do it.
Just have them on your porch, back porch, front porch, both porches, whatever. Have a thing of bubbles. And it's also fun to invite your friends, your kids, your spouse to blow bubbles with you. And it does the thing in the brain that Gina so eloquently explained. And I'm like, that's so cool. I have no idea what you're saying. But I'm so glad I get that. Who knew? And guys, have fun. Have fun and take care of yourselves. Please take care of yourselves.
You'll take better care of each other if you do.
It's so true. Well, have a great week. Please be sure to follow us on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. Share our podcast. Talk about this with a friend. Maybe have a group, your small group or whatever.
Yeah.
And play it and talk about it afterwards. And we love you guys, and we look forward to seeing you next week.
Take good care.
Bye.
Bye.
Do we have anything for YouTube land?
I don't think so. I think just take the list, check it out, see what you come up with this week. I think it's wonderful to try some of this with a friend.
Yeah.
And if you have a significant other and you recognize that maybe both of you have been running high stress, maybe sit down and share this with them and come up with some things that you could even do together if you wanted to give it a shot.
I think one of the things that and I wish I would have talked about this in our podcast, but working with several clients is just the loneliness people are feeling.
Yes.
And how hard it can be, and maybe this is another topic we talk about at another time. So if you wrestle with loneliness and isolation, it can be hard to find people and connect with people. And so start looking for those. And we'll be praying for you guys that there's going to be people who are going to pop up in your lives that you've not noticed before, that you can maybe go sit outside at work and blow bubbles with and just have some time and then start those connections that are not just on the phone, that it's actually human connections where that bring life. And
Yes.
so we'll be praying for you guys on that.
Take good care of yourselves.
Bye.
Bye.